Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hi everybody!
Hello!
Hi, my name is David Bell.
I'm Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Lords of Chaos.
Lords of Curse!
A movie about scary white people.
Here I am, an average teenager, you may think. But you couldn't be more wrong. I am the founder of Mayhem, the most infamous black metal band in the world.
We are Lords of Chaos.
You guys suck.
Mom, tell her to get out. Life was easy back then. It was all about having fun, drinking beer, playing hard and loud music. And then everything changed.
Oh, man, some of the most frightening white people.
Yes, man. All right. So, well, shit. Tom, what did you think of this?
I really liked this movie.
Me too! So there's a thing. All right, here's the thing. First of all, if people are wondering, there's nothing really in theaters right now. So we thought, oh, fuck, let's do another streaming. There's a friend of a show in the show in this. Walter Skarsgård is. Yeah. We've tweeted to him and stuff, and he's very nice. And at some point, we might play games with him. So I went into this very nervous because I was like, "Oh God, what if I don't like this?" And that was never a problem.
No, it's like immediately good.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. I love this director, so I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I would say it's not for everybody.
No.
It is a dark story.
Yeah, if you've ever watched a documentary, Until the Light Takes Us, it covers the Norwegian black metal scene in the late 80s and early 90s, and the band Mayhem is part of it. And this movie is about the band Mayhem. If you know anything about that band, there's a lot of death involved in it.
There was a lot of moments in this movie where something happened and I was just like, oh, they dramatized that. They made it. And then I would look it up and be like, no, that's how that happened. Like, obviously, there's speculation on certain scenes that, you know.
Yeah, the main one being, of course, the eventual murder of Euronymous. That's speculative because Varg still insists that it was self-defense.
But it's still based off of, like, he was, I guess, spoilers, but he was murdered in the staircase, stabbed in the staircase. Varg did say that, he was going to torture me and tase me. Like, that's all true. So the way they framed it is like watching it was like, this is kind of the most realistic version of what could have happened. Like, if he was stabbed in the staircase, that means he was trying to get away, you know?
Oh yeah, and just the number of times he was stabbed and the placement of the stab wounds, and then Varg being like, well, yeah, he was going to kill me. It's like, no, you annihilated him
stabbed
with a
him
knife.
Like 16 times in the back. Yeah.
In the back.
Yeah. Twice in the head, although they only show once in the...
Yeah. They only show the one.
This movie's fucking brutal.
It is.
There's
three...
Much.
Right. Knowing this director, there's 3 scenes of intense violence, and boy, this director does not look away. Like, you keep expecting it to, like, cut away, and you just see, like, some other... Because a lot of movies will get around being too intense by, like, showing a little bit and then, like, cutting to a character's face or a reaction or, like, cutting away from it. He doesn't do that.
No, he does not do that. He is a brutal director.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah,
but it is brutal, but it's good, and it's like
so
it's weirdly funny in a lot of spots.
It also gets around. This was the biggest challenge, I thought, is that none of the characters are likable, because they're based off bad people, and there's something about it that kept me watching the whole time, and I think it's just because I don't know. I think the performances are really good. And that's
Rory Culkin
everybody.
is really good.
There's a little Culkin. Walter is good at it. He's very good.
Walter has probably he comes in about halfway through.
He has one of the more haunting scenes.
Yeah, he does. He plays Faust, and if anybody's familiar with the story, Faust murdered a guy in a park, and
he stabbed him many times.
He didn't get caught. If I remember correctly, he didn't get caught until years later, and the movie shows him being arrested, but I thought he just eventually went to the police and told them.
That might be one where they're fucking with the timeline a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't expect biopics like this to, as long as they don't make, wild accusations. Most of this is pretty much what I've read.
And if you watch Until the Light Takes Us, they do a lot of interviews with Varg in prison, and most of this is what he says happened. So.
I liked how they portrayed. I don't know if Varg liked how they portrayed him because they play.
Oh, I'm sure not. They portrayed him as
he's a dummy.
This movie. Okay, I wanted to say we had brought up Walter again, because he has one of the more haunting scenes in the film. He also has one of my favorite exchanges in the film. And it's when Euronymous, Rory Culkin, makes his initial threat that he's like, man, that fucking idiot Varg, I'm going to kill him. And then he mentioned his dad, or so it's like, your dad stopped. He asked like, oh, did your dad stop paying for this?
Yeah.
Because they're packing up the record store. And then he goes like, the fucking idiot, I'm going to kill him. And Walter's like, your dad? That's sick, man. And he's like, no, I'm going to kill Varg. And he says, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
I fucking laughed my ass off at that delivery.
Yeah, that's great fucking delivery. There is a lot of good, this is the same. All right, the movie that comes to mind with this director the most is Spun for me. He's done other things, and Spun is that where it's a combination of really fucked up shit, and I remember it being funny or weird, and that's what this is. It's combining just really insane imagery and disturbing things with moments. And I don't want to call the characters charismatic, but they're very watchable.
Well, the performances are charismatic.
Yeah, the performances are. Oh man, I guess I want to start with, of course, Dead, which is not a big role, but it is.
But a very important role.
Yeah, it's a very important role.
And that's Jack Kilmer. It's Val Kilmer's son.
Oh shit, that makes sense. Yeah, his scene where he's the suicide.
Jesus, his suicide is brutal.
They make it brutal, and they make it because that's one where it's like they don't know. They know obviously what happened to him, and they know about the note left behind. But they make it so that he's just sitting in his room and just kind of looks at a knife, and it's just you know what? And just kills
today's
himself.
the day.
Yeah,
today's
and
the
then
day.
he cuts both his wrists, slits his throat, and then blows his brains out. And they never look away. The movie never looks away from this.
Nope. Nope.
Which is part of what makes this movie so powerful, because they're just this happened, and we want you to watch it happen.
It's easy to forget too. They briefly mention it after Varg gets arrested, following his when he contacts a reporter, which is one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
Oh my god, yeah.
But he gets arrested, and they mention the fact that he's 19. These are teenagers.
Yes, they're just.
I mean, they're played by people who are adults, but I think Dead was 17,
right?
So it's no, these are kids who are, rebelling. I really want to. We can go through some other stuff, but I do really want to talk about what I think this movie's about. But yeah, they're just fucking kids, and it's they're all dumb and full of shit. But they've picked up this black metal imagery, and it's they basically, it's a group of dumb kids who keep pushing each other to go further and further,
right?
And none of them really realizes how out of hand it's getting. And it's sort of if you were ever together with a bunch of your friends when you're a teenager and doing dumb shit, the kind of the standard dumb things that kids do, eventually it goes too far. Somebody ends up breaking a bone or something. You're oh crap, that really got serious. And in this one, nobody ever does that. like Euronymous
for
keeps pushing him like, oh, we gotta.
Well,
yeah.
Euronymous, I think, is almost the most sinister character because he's the only one who knows in his heart that he doesn't believe in this. Where he's just like, this is for publicity, and part of it, like, that makes him the most grounded person. But if it weren't for the fact of what they're doing is so horrific, you know what I mean?
Right. It also makes him the worst.
Yes, exactly. It makes them the worst because they're victims. Like, if this was like, if they didn't do nearly as much of the stuff, but they had the same attitudes, like, even if they still bled on stage and stuff, like, I would feel sympathetic to them. But it's the burning the churches. But like they do. He's a sham artist, is what they basically. He's like.
Yeah.
He's like a. Like
he steals money from Varg.
Yeah. And like the reveal that I loved was that when he gives them all necklaces with Dead's skull on it, and so like I guess, oh man, it's hard because I feel like people who haven't watched this have no idea what we're talking about. He discovers Dead's body. And famously, this person went and instead of calling the cops, he went down the street and got a disposable camera and like posed the body and took pictures to give them notoriety, which is the first thing you realize, like, oh, this person is a fucking villain.
Yeah, and that's when the bass player Necro Butcher quits.
Yeah,
and
like, he gives everybody pieces of the skull. As a necklace, and then the reveal way later where someone tries to give it back, he's just like, it's just chicken bone. I just took
Varg does.
Bone. Yeah,
Varg is giving it back. He's like, oh man, you can keep that. It's chicken bone. It's like that's when he finally. It's like almost at the end of the movie after Varg gets out of prison. Yeah, and he finally admits, no, this is all. Like he says, what's the point if it's not selling? Like he's just trying to.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a businessman. He's trying to get his label going. He's trying to get the band going, and he's just like, "Look, this is all for publicity." And
it makes him, one of the most evil characters. Because I would say, like, Dead. Because this is the thing: is like this movie is not about how metal turns people into monsters. It's about how metal attracted this type, and this group of people were attracted by disturbed kids. Like, Dead is legitimately just a troubled kid.
Yeah, Dead was a child. He's a teenager who needed serious help.
They show him hanging cats. They don't look away. It was when I watched that scene. They show a cat hanging, and my reflexive reaction was to go, "Oh, kitty!"
It's a super dead cat. Yeah,
super dead cat, and he's like clearly troubled, and he like checks out immediately. And I get the same about Varg, where it's like, like Varg was kind of the real deal too in a different way. Like he's also fucked up, and it's all these people who are. It's like this level of like it's the Gigi Allen thing where there's a lot of punks who are like, yeah, punk rock, but Gigi Allen was like, no, I'll show you punk rock because I am legitimately disturbed.
Yeah, I'm a self-destructive maniac.
Yeah.
And Varg is real interesting. Because he comes into the movie as Christian, just this kind of nice kid who sees them play their show, and he tries to. I don't know if this is apocryphal. It probably is.
Yeah.
He tries to talk to Euronymous at the diner after the show, and he's like, "Yeah, I really liked your set. You guys are really cool." And like Euronymous totally shits on him. He's like, "You got a fucking scorpion patch on your
all he does is he
vest.
Puts his finger on the patch and goes scorpions and walks away. Which was great.
Yeah. And he basically like Varg changes his personality to be liked by Euronymous and to be part of that group, and it's that that sort of criticism or commentary I've seen made before where people are like, oh, that person's not legitimately crazy, they're just pretending to be crazy. And it's like, well, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, what's the difference? Because like Varg is pretending to be these things that he thinks Euronymous wants him to be, and then he just becomes those things.
Yeah, and then he goes the other way. Because at first, like, and I love Euronymous how they make it so that, like, he loves taking credit for things.
Yeah, he's such a dick.
But it's the idea is he's all talk. So when he tries to act. We've all met someone like him. Obviously, he's way more sinister than a lot of people, but like,
yeah,
he talks about churches and he's just like, yeah, they should all be burnt down, and he's just saying it because it's something to say.
Because it's cool.
It's cool to say.
It gives him that edgy credit, like he's
yeah.
dark.
And then
edgy.
Varg goes out and starts burning churches, and he's like,
churches.
And he's like, it's like you said, they should all be burned down. Like he's
Yeah.
calling his. It feels like Varg is calling his bluff almost from the start. Like it never feels like Varg likes him, Euronymous.
Oh, I disagree. I think he likes him he wants to be accepted in the beginning, and then
yes,
I think
the first part. And then they cut to him in his house, and the Scorpions patch is thrown away. And it's almost this when he travels to Oslo to see him. It's almost like sinister when he walks in.
A little. It still seems like the cool is like he's like affecting cool because like he knows what records to pick. He drove up there to give Euronymous his demo tape.
Right, you're right, and he's trying to be hardcore. He's trying to be
right. Yeah, he still wants to be accepted, and he's like, "No, I don't drink. No, I'm a vegetarian." Like he's not. He's still saying things that are uncool, and he's sort of like shocked by Euronymous saying they should burn the churches down. So it's like what I brought up earlier, where it's like it's a bunch of dumb kids playing chicken with each other, and they just keep going. It's like they keep one-upping each other's dares, and it just goes too far. Like. Varg starts burning churches, and then Walter fucking murders a guy in the park for no goddamn reason.
And then Euronymous takes credit.
And then Euronymous takes credit for it.
Yeah. And that was, man, you almost feel sympathy for him. I almost felt sympathy for him at the end where he cuts off his hair and he starts actually acting like a professional almost. Like when
acting like a professional. Like he sits down, he's like, okay, he starts typing up his news.
Button-down shirt.
Yeah, and he's like, look, I'm gonna be this. I'm still in the band, but I'm like, he starts typing out like the press release for their new album and how they're gonna like promote it and stuff. Like he's thinking like a professional musician now and not like a fucking clown.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's and you realize that's what he is the whole time. He's a businessman.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's just so painful to watch.
His murder is really brutal.
His murder is so brutal. Because he's sniveling and he's crying and he's trying to spin it like he's like, oh, well, tell people you tried to murder me.
Yeah, it's like, no, this is great cred. This is really brilliant. But like before, like part of what makes it so brutal is I think when like Varg first stabs him, like. There's this disbelief, and it's like I feel like I would behave this way too if I was being stabbed to death. Where you're trying to minimize it, like you're trying to minimize your own murder as it's happening. Like he gets stabbed, he's like, "What are you doing? Okay, wait a second." Like he's like legitimately talking. Like, hold on.
Yeah, the first stabbing, it's just like, just stop. We can. This doesn't have to keep going. I get that. It was it's a very effective murder scene.
Yeah, it's real good.
And they get him to where the body was found in a way that's realistic. Because, again, this is all speculation. It's two men. We only have the murderer's word. I was surprised.
Yeah, well, and his driver. Like, his driver knows he went
up there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, of the actual Yeah. I love that. I couldn't find any evidence that it was, in fact, Die Hard 2 that they said they watched.
Oh, yeah. It's a movie about dying hard twice.
Yeah, that was great. I
like Varg has his... Go ahead.
Oh, no, there was an Evil Dead in here. There was a Dead Alive.
I didn't recognize the third one.
What was...
I knew, like, the first... Like, they show Walter as Faust watching two horror movies in the record store. They show him watching Dead Alive, and they show him watching Evil Dead. And then later, Euronymous and Sky Ferrari are watching a movie on his couch, and I didn't recognize that one.
Really? That's Evil Dead 1.
The one... No, it's not, is it?
Yeah, when the hands are bursting out of the body.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
That's the end of Evil Dead 1, yeah.
You're right. Okay, so they watch Evil Dead twice. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet film.
Pretty sweet.
Really into it.
Shit. Oh yeah, that was what I was going to say. This was all right. Vice is one of the producers on this, and I look when I was looking through articles. Vice did a lot of articles on Varg, like interviews and stuff. And that surprises. I mean, this is like a good for Vice thing, but like I'm glad because they seem to have some sort of connection to Varg, and then they portray him and he's like a real asshole.
He's a straight up villain.
They clearly aren't worried about that. I looked up what Varg's doing now. Tom, I have mixed emotions about this. You know, he made a tabletop role-playing game.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we should be playing that at any point. I feel like it's wrong to play his tabletop role-playing game.
I don't think we should do that.
Okay, let's not play the Nazi
feels
murderers role-playing game.
Yeah, that feels a little like... that feels a little like playing Charles Manson's record. Where it's
exactly.
Isn't this like funny that we're playing his record?
It's also like
really,
yeah. And with Charles Manson's record was easy enough because I've listened to his record.
It's fine folk music.
Oh, really? I was gonna say it's terrible.
I've heard I've only heard one or two songs, and
okay.
if you hadn't told me it was Charles Manson, I would have just assumed it was some like folk band from the 60s who got one song on the radio. Like it just sounded like it sounds like very background music to me.
There's a couple okay songs, but generally the lyrics, if you listen to the lyrics, there's some really bad ones.
I'm sure they're just like a fucking bag of cats.
Yeah, the best song on it is the one that he has the family sing, and it's just unintentionally horrifying because you know that these are murderers singing.
Speaking of Manson, Marina actually pointed this out while we were watching this. Like, she watched this movie with me. Euronymous is kind of like Manson.
Oh, yeah.
In that he was talking a great big game and then weren't really, acting on it until fucking Tex showed up. And Varg is kind of like Tex.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Manson obviously did way more and definitely intended to hurt people. Euronymous, I don't think, ever intended to hurt anyone. He just wanted to push his band.
Right. Euronymous is his big... He just, like, sits back and lets the destruction happen. They do great with the burning church scene, which, again, none of this is all... A lot of this is speculation, because I know Varg has blamed Euronymous and said, like, oh, it was all him. But, like, they show the scene with Euronymous and they go to burn the church and he doesn't really do anything. Not at first. Oh, he does. No, the first church he does, he lights the Bibles on fire. Eventually.
Right, because the bomb doesn't go off and Varg goes running back in there.
Yeah.
There's some pretty funny bits in this movie.
Yeah, that fucking scene with the reporter where the reporter is...
Oh, my God.
What I loved about the reporter... is that we know these people are murderers. Like, we know that Varg will kill somebody eventually. But, like you said, they're all just teenagers. And when the reporter comes in, he's just not impressed by any of this.
No.
Like, he walks in and he's just like, yeah.
They show him, like...
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
they show him right before the reporter arrives, like, setting up his house, like, I imagine... What the hell was that asshole's name that made the guy that did the Sarkeesian effect that always put like a skull in the background?
Honestly, I don't remember his name anymore.
Davis Arini.
Okay.
So I was
going to say I don't care to even
that's fine. We can bleep that out even if you want to.
No, it doesn't.
But
he's
like
inconsequential.
It's the same sort of thing where he was like meticulously setting up his apartment and he had like his hair artfully in his face. He put like a sword, like he arranged everything, and the reporter walks in and is immediately like, "You're an asshole."
Yeah.
Like, and then he has a conversation about like, I know who burned the churches down. And he goes like, "Oh yeah, who did it?" It's like, they're a group called the Black Circle. Okay, how many of you are there? There's about 6 of us. So he's already tricked him into admitting that it was him.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
And then he says, well, why'd you burn the church down? Well, because the Christians built to bring us back to our roots. And the reporter's like, our roots? It's like, yeah, Odin. He's like, okay. So you're a paganist and you're a Satanist. And then he looks around at the Nazi flag. He's like, and you're also a Nazi.
Yeah,
it's a pretty broad spectrum of beliefs.
Yes. Because it's clear that it's just the most shocking. That's what it is. Is that none of them believe in anything.
No.
Except for they think it's cool. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're definitely like Varg and Faust are definitely violent
Yes.
murderers, but they don't actually believe any of this rhetoric. They just it fucking amps them up.
Yeah.
And it's it's the same sort of bullshit we all do when we're teenagers. Like we pick up, when we start trying on new identities and like we find like fuck the government. I mean
Right.
definitely fuck the government. But like you start getting into this sort of stuff where it's like you really cling to rhetoric and these
It's
really
why
jargony beliefs.
it's why everybody our age is so thankful that YouTube didn't exist when we were teenagers.
Oh yeah, I
made so many stupid things that are said so many dumb things or dressed in
Yeah.
so many dumb ways that it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm really glad there's no social media record of this shit.
I think we'd all be canceled forever.
Yeah, and it's something the new generation has to deal with. And like I thought about that with these guys where it's just like, oh, if YouTube existed, Mayhem would have been, I don't know, would have it gone this far, or would have they just like bitched about feminism in video games or something?
Yep.
Who can say?
Yeah.
It's so weird because, and I know that's what this movie's trying to deal with, is that are they monsters? Is it the music? Is this a group of people who are inherently disturbed who happen to find each other? Is it all peer pressure?
I think
What happened? Like, what caused these people to do this? Go ahead. And it just seems like it's a mix.
Yeah. I think. I don't think it's the music.
No, it's not the music itself.
It's.
I think it's the crowd, right? It's the
It's. I'm pretty sure it's just this was a group of dumb kids. You had one guy that was pushing really hard for this image, and one or two people in the group took him seriously.
right. It got out of hand. It
Got out of hand. Yeah. It's
so weird.
Yeah. It's
Because I mean, this made me think about my own background a lot, just because punk rock is one where you want to commit. You want to do stuff. You want to throw stuff out a window.
Yeah, sure. I've damaged a lot of property
Yeah.
in the name of fuck it all punk rock.
And there is definitely this feeling of like no one wants to stop and say,
yeah,
hey,
nobody wants to be the person that says no, we can't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it takes like one person really pushing something sinister. And that's really what it is that like Rory Culkin's character, he like that's why he seems like the most evil person, because it's all a show for him, but he's not. He immediately crosses that line into death is fine. Like,
yeah, as
like-
long as they can spin it, and as long as
Yeah.
we're like they cut back. I like what they did with Dead's death. Like they cut back a few times to show us a little bit more of the mythology. Like when he first finds the body, they show us Euronymous driving to the store to get the camera and then coming back and taking photographs of it. Then he has a couple of nightmares.
the nightmares were great. Some of them made me
the nightmares
leap.
are really good.
Again,
Oh, yeah.
Spun was known for having amazing editing. I'm gonna say this movie, I really like the editing in this movie.
Yeah, it's got great editing.
Yeah.
So we know, and he keeps the picture of Dead's dead body up in his office, but he also has other pictures with Dead. So it's clear that the death actually affected him.
Yeah.
But they keep flashing back to it in key points of the movie when like his Euronymous' character is sort of turning or facing a decision or facing some kind of change. Like they cut back to it to show him pick up a piece of Dead's brain, and I think that's actually during one of the during the nightmares.
And the rumor
so it's
is that he ate. some of
that
his
he
brain.
ate it. So it's playing with that rumor.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back when Sky Furia finds the photo of Euronymous and Dead, like in Euronymous' apartment, and she's like, "You really miss him, don't you?" And then he flashes to him finding the body, and he's just weeping.
Yeah, I liked that. Where I thought
Yeah.
that was when he was cutting his hair. They do the weeping. Maybe not. But
when
like
he starts to flash back to the nightmare when she's cutting his hair.
oh, okay. Yeah,
so it's like he's letting that go. He's letting Dead go, and he's letting that that aspect of what he has done go.
Right, because that's the point of no return immediately is when Dead and he takes the pictures of Dead and he exploits it.
Yeah, and then when he finds out that Walter's killed a guy, he's like, you see him think about it first. He's like, you did that. That's really smart. We can use that. Like
it's all about promotion.
Yeah.
Which it's so weird. Mm-hmm. Oh fuck. This fucking movie.
Yeah, it's real good.
It is really good. If you have the stomach for it, you gotta watch it. Again, it's a hard, like, you're gonna see a cat hung. Like, obviously not a real cat, but it looks like a real cat.
It looks pretty. The dead animal work in this movie is pretty strong.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of dead animals. And then they try to hunt another black cat. That I was like, oh kitten, it's you. And they don't get it. They don't get the wily little thing.
No,
I get it.
It escapes.
Yeah. Who knows what it's off doing now? Fucking cat.
It's playing in mayhem.
Yeah, I was looking at so much. I was looking at material and stuff. They nailed, like, even the churches look the same as the churches they burnt down. The photographs look exactly the same. There was so much attention to detail. This is one of those movies that I kind of feel like maybe if they, and I'm not in favor of this, but had they censored it a little more and it got a bigger studio push, this would have been a big deal, this movie, because it's about something that's really fascinating.
It's absolutely relevant today because replace Euronymous with an internet chat room or like a Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. Room. And I feel like the internet is almost easier.
Yeah, it's way easier to indoctrinate people.
It's not even. It's almost the opposite. We're all Euronymous. Like, I've heard of these, like when like Elliot Rodger shot a bunch of people, and he posted about it on 4chan. There were so many people like egging him on and stuff because in their head it didn't. I'm not going to defend any of those people, but I think partially in their head, none of it. It's like caught up in the moment. It's the peer pressure. It's this isn't real. This is the internet.
None of it's real. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of what this is that it's all these people like, when you're a teenager. Like, I remember I drag raced my friend on the highway as a teenager. Like, stuff like that where you think, like, I'm going to live forever. And you don't
I can't die.
Yeah. And it's like, none of this matters. And it's that feeling. And that's what's so spooky about this movie is that it could almost be not any of us, but, like, there's a version of these stories that could happen to any of us in that age where we're all kind of don't understand consequences. And again, it's not really a sympathy. I have no sympathy for these people, but it's just,
I've got some sympathy for some, like Dead needed help.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Dead. Sympathy for Dead.
I mean, he killed a lot of animals, but
but he is the most sympathetic character in this.
Yeah.
He does this thing, which again, so fucking metal, where he puts a dead animal in a bag and
he crucifies a mouse.
He crucifies a mouse.
Wait. When he sends him his demo tape, he includes a crucified mouse.
But when he's huffing the smell of death,
he's huffing a dead bat.
It's a drug. Oh, that's so fucking metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Picks up a dead fox on the side of the road and just smells it.
There's nothing wrong with the road. I had a friend who learned how to tan hides, and he would pick up roadkill all the time, which is disturbing, but he didn't huff it. He was just skinning it and using its fur. It was still weird.
Yeah, I like how you said, he wasn't huffing it or anything. He was just skinning it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but then he was like, he was making shit out of
it. I get it. I get it. It's just the idea that flaying it was somehow
I remember
less offensive than smelling it.
I woke up and we were like, I don't know, maybe in our teens. I forget how old we were when he was doing this. Maybe even earlier. But I remember waking up and him being at my door, surprising me at my door, and he's like, "You got to come outside." And I'm like half asleep and go out to his car, and there's just a full dead deer in his trunk, or in his back seat. And he's like, "Found it on the road. This is what we're gonna do this afternoon." And it was just like, okay,
Yeah, I guess.
let me drink some coffee and we'll go skin this deer you found.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, that's
Good
a thing.
times. Good times.
If you're,
There's
if
nothing
you're in a
wrong.
place-
Again, people skin animals all the time.
Yeah, and if you're in
They
a
don't-
place where there's a lot of deer, like I have known people who, if they find a roadkill deer and it's like pretty fresh, they'll take it home, skin it, and eat it.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. What we did was we then put it in his front yard, blasted the Misfits, and he skinned the deer while wearing giant like Jamiroquai style goggles, like these big white goggles, like the kind that Willy Wonka wears in the remake, with a tri-hawk, just skinning this deer, and then yeah, and it's not the most secluded neighborhood, so it was an interesting time. It was fun though. And then he brought the body out into the woods the next day. And then he washed his trunk the next day, and then just by pure coincidence, he repainted his car in the rain, like in his garage. So if you were like rear windowing him, you would think he definitely killed somebody.
Yeah.
It was a good
He
time.
did a murder. I think this man has done a murder.
Yeah. That's good. It's good probable cause there. Like, it's safe bet. It's a safe bet that they did a murder.
Perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, this movie was a lot of fun. Fucking oh god. Who are the other? Okay, so there's a Kilmer in there. There's a Culkin. There's a Skarsgård. Jesus.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whole lot.
There's a lot of powerful families here
Whole lot going on.
coming together.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I have anything more to say about this movie.
Yeah. Just
It was really it's again, don't watch it with your family.
no, probably
don't-
not. But
Don't watch it in a mood. I watched during the day, which was nice. It's good to like. It doesn't end in a way that's. It's hard to say. It doesn't end in a terribly depressing way because he just sort of
they kind of it's like fuck this, don't do this. Like
yeah.
don't do this depressing ending. But like I like that it's a movie that really actually has a lot to say, but it doesn't belabor it. Like you never notice the film telling you anything. It's just
No.
like, here are all these things that these kids did.
There's a
There it is.
narration, but the narration
Yeah.
comes and goes, and it only kind of shows up when necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's sort of like at the beginning, like okay, let's establish who we are,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's sort of they end on it, and then there's like a little bit in between.
Yeah.
And again, it's a lot of that's I think speculation.
Yeah.
But it fits. It all fits with the story you're told, and it doesn't do anybody favors. Like it doesn't try to
No.
make anybody the hero. Everybody
It
just
makes
sort of
it-
is.
It makes Euronymous sort of sympathetic toward the end.
It's more just tragic. Because it's like he's not a great guy, and ultimately it's his own like
kind of his own fault, but
it's his own. It's the Frankenstein. Like it's
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that where it's like, yeah, this is what's gonna happen, buddy. Like, and you don't want it because they do a really good job at the beginning. They show him kind of with his family, and it's sort of like, oh, he's just that was really good about. All right, that fuck. Well, they begin it with like, I'm just a normal teenager, and it's true.
Yeah.
And then you forget that. And you show him with his little sister and stuff, dyeing his hair, and then they go back to that at the end, and that's where you gain the sympathy because it reminds you, like, by the way, he's just a teenager, and like
he doesn't fucking know.
Yeah, here's him with his family. Here's his little sister hearing about his death. And they could have done that for almost all these characters. Is like, that reminder. But
for
they
sure.
had to
Like,
focus on one.
yeah,
so
you
they
get a
focus
little
on
bit of
him.
it. You get a little bit of it for Dead's suicide scene that he gets a message on the machine. It's his dad telling him he just got into university.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
And if he wants to, they're going to go to their summer house. And it's like, we'd really like it if you'd come with us. And it's like he's in the middle of killing himself.
Right.
And then like when Walter goes out to murder a guy, he's like at home with his family. He's like, I'm going out, Mom.
Yeah.
You know, he just goes out of his, like, these are just,
they're just normal kids, but they're
kids.
Obviously not normal.
Yeah. Certainly not. Yeah. Certainly not in that sequence. I think that bit with showing Walter at his family's house was just to remind us that he's a teenager, because he's clearly not a normal teenager. He went out to murder someone.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a hell of a thing that they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, this is such a good movie.
Yeah, they skip over the fact that Varg goes on to lead a terrible life of being in a Norwegian prison for like 20 years, and that's it.
25, I think. 25. Whatever they have a maximum in Norway.
It might be 22. I mean, I'm not knocking it because the system works there, but it's still funny in my head. How ridiculously it's effective apparently, but like I looked him up and it's like, yeah, he hung out at like prisons. There was some maximum security prisons he was in. Then he escaped in like 2001 or something. Damn. And then they got him back, and they found him like with tons of guns, like trying to do terrorism, because they caught him with all these explosives. He was gonna attack a liberal organization. I forget what.
Because he's a Nazi.
Yeah, and then they caught him again in like the 2000s, and then he was only in jail until 2009, even though he had escaped and tried to immediately do terrorism, and he has since been arrested again for trying to do terrorism again.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. If you go on the Wikipedia, Faust's Wikipedia page, that's the character Walter plays. It's like, Faust is a metal drummer and convicted murderer, and it just like it lists convicted murderer as one of his accolades almost, because he's already been to prison and been released, so he's like currently making music with other bands.
So
and
is
shit.
Varg. Varg put out another fucking album after when he got out. It's crazy.
Yep, they just have lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a quarter century.
I think what it is with the Norways, it's like statistically speaking, their prison system reforms more people than anything.
Yeah,
but
they also I believe they have the lowest murder rate in the world. Yeah, I think.
But then Varg is like this abnormality. He's this anomaly where it's just like, yeah, he got out of prison. He immediately is trying to terrorism again, and it's one of those where it's like, maybe, I don't know, put him back in prison.
Yeah, but I mean, surely they can arrest him for a different crime.
Yeah,
like a new crime. Oh, you've done new crimes. I see.
You've done additional crimes.
Appendices to these crimes. This is the similarian of your crimes.
Yeah,
the expanded universe of Varg's crimes.
Right.
So yeah, it's this is just it's such a dark subject matter, but the movie's really fun, and it's a little odd parts. It's fun. There's 3 very brutal sequences. It's fun. It's engaging. It's well acted. It's it manages, just a fascinating story.
It manages to like make humor in there, and I feel like it's almost at their expense. But it also
for most of the time, yeah.
But it's also very human. Like, it's not cartoonish. It's not like. It's weird because it's not like, oh, fuck these guys, so let's laugh at them. Because it's still like, and again, I don't want to use sympathizes, but it makes them human and not monsters. They all seem like real people. Man, yeah, it's the humor is almost to keep you engaged in the entertainment of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. I think it's got like almost a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is fine. Because again, it's not for everybody. I can see.
Yeah, it's
watching
pretty.
This
it's
and
pretty
being
intense.
Very upset by it. Yeah, it's a very intense movie. It's like more intense, I would say, than like Green Room, because this actually happened, and it's shot in a way that almost shows more.
Yeah, it feels like Green Room is a great film.
Yes.
And is shot really well, but it doesn't feel like real life.
Yes.
This feels real.
Yeah, because it was.
Right.
And there's not as many moments of violence in this. It's just the moments of violence are so, disturbing.
Yeah.
But again, it's really fucking good. This is making me, because the director also did Polar, which is on the Netflix, and
Netflix right now.
So far I've watched, I think, only 2 of this director's films, Spun and this. He's done a lot of music videos, and I need to watch more of his shit, because so far 100% of the things I've seen of him I liked.
Yeah,
so,
I'm super into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out Polar soon.
It's got
and
everybody
did great in this.
Yeah, everybody should watch this film.
Yeah, if you can handle this film, watch it.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I was, I guess I shouldn't have been, but I was stunned at how tall Walter is.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't be.
I shouldn't be.
He's a Superman. He's a Superman.
All them Skarsgårds are tall.
Yeah, they're like what? I was trying to make a comparison, but I was
You just lost it. They're like Slenderman.
Yeah, they're like Slender. Well, they're like, yeah, they're the perfect model Scandinavians. Yeah.
Watch this film.
Business. Yeah, watch this film.
They do mean business.
They mean business. These Skarsgårds mean business.
Yeah, man.
These fucking vampires.
Don't turn your back on those Skarsgårds.
Yeah, well, they haven't. They're vampires, but like, they haven't done anything wrong yet. They haven't eaten anybody I know, at least. So
right.
It's sort of like right now I'm okay.
Keep it going.
With them. Yeah. It's like
we can coexist.
Yeah, it's like Blade 2 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, watch Lords of Chaos.
Watch Lords of Chaos.
It's on Prime. It's probably, I assume it's on iTunes as well.
Yeah.
Rent this bitch.
Rent it.
Give it a watch. It's
good. Give it one of them watches. All right. What do we have to plug?
Yeah. We got our Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, where you can go over and support us and check out some exclusive podcasts and streams. We got some shows like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder's a Maniac that you can only get if you're a patron. So go over there and give us a few dollars.
We also never plug Best Bad Movie. Now, I feel like people know Best Bad Movie. So listen to Best Bad Movie on the Unpops.
Unpopular Opinion Network.
Yeah. I also should plug, I'm going to be on an episode of Behind the Bastards that's probably coming out the day after this. I don't know when it's going to come out. But
that's fair.
Check that out. We also have TeePublic.
Yeah.
T-shirts.
teepublic.com/stores/gamefullyunemployed. You can get a bunch of our merch.
Yeah. We got so much. We got
all this shit, you guys. We're building an empire like Euronymous.
We are. We're exactly like Euronymous.
We're exactly
Tom
like
is going to stab me in the hallway.
One of us is going to stab the other. We're going to see which one it is.
It's inevitable. We know this is how it's going to go.
This working relation, this partnership ends in a stabbing.
That's fine.